All right, does everything just have to become an SUV? What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Brian Mello with Marty's Buick GMC and Chevrolet, and in today's video, we'll be discussing the 2025 Camaro SUV and asking the all-important question of this series, of course, would you buy one? So let's get into it. All right, so I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like every day we've got reports of a sports car turning into a sedan, a crossover, an SUV, or an EV. And since for the most part I stick to General Motors products, I've been able to ignore most of them. But recently, Car and Driver published an article saying, quote, General Motors is reportedly readying an SUV version of its Camaro muscle car, and we expect it to reach production in the next few years, end quote. Now, I know a few weeks ago I dropped a video on a potential Corvette SUV. In fact, I'll go ahead and I'll leave a link to that video in the comments below for you guys to check out. But in that video, I went over a lot of reasons why I believe that the upcoming Corvette SUV rumor is not just a rumor, that it's true. And that's beyond just the murmuring that I've heard working within a GM Auto Group. After all, Lamborghini built an SUV that is now its top-selling vehicle by just a massive margin. It's not even a competition. Porsche has had incredible success with its SUV line. In fact, it most likely saved the company from bankruptcy back in the early 2000s. I'm sure some of you actually remember that. Of course, we all know that Ford decided to make the most polarizing decision on planet Earth to not only make a Mustang SUV, but to make it an EV as well. And Ferrari has even now thrown its hat into the SUV ring. Because the reality is, that seems to be what the market wants. And as much as it pains me to admit it, the days of us having a ton of sports coupe options seem to be dwindling down more and more every single day. So what exactly is the deal with the Camaro SUV? Well, according to Car and Driver, GM is reportedly expecting to expand the Camaro nameplate into a sub-brand for Chevy, which could lead to not just an SUV, but a sedan as well. And this all sounds really oddly familiar to the reports of GM turning the Corvette into a sub-brand, which makes far more sense to me because the reality is that the Camaro branding doesn't seem to be anywhere near the draw that it used to be. The current car is just no longer a big seller for Chevy. 10 years ago, Chevy sold over 91,000 Camaros in a single year. In 2022, that number was 24,000, getting beat by the Mustang, which sold over 47,000 units, and the Challenger that sold just north of 55,000. There's a reason that GM just revealed to us that the Camaro, as we know, will end after the 2024 model year. Meanwhile, the Corvette is just eating up the premium sports car market share. The car is getting rave reviews. It drives incredibly well. It is super balanced. It took me a while, but I finally got behind the wheel of one last week, which is the one you're seeing on the screen now. And I was very, very impressed with the overall experience of the car. Now, I've driven just about everything from Corvettes, Camaros, Mustangs, 911s, Huracans, Aventadors, McLarens. The 720S is really nice. GTRs, the list goes on and on. But I will tell you that the current C8 is one of the most well-rounded cars, especially for the value that I've ever driven. Now I just need to get my hands on a new Z06. But at any rate, the declining Camaro sales numbers and the recent announcement of its demise aren't the only reason that I'm not putting all that much weight into this Car and Driver article. Because let's be honest, the Camaro SUV, it sort of already exists. It came out in 2019 just with the wrong name, the Chevy Blazer. And in 2024, Chevy will have the 557 horsepower version as the Blazer SS. So where exactly would a Camaro SUV fit into this mix? It just doesn't make all that much sense to me. Now, a Corvette SUV to slot in above that, sure, makes sense. And I'm confident, I am very confident that it will be a massive seller for Chevrolet. But Camaro, just not so much in my opinion, unless they were to just rebrand the Blazer, but I think at this point, they've just gone way too far to make that pivot. Now, although I've just beat up the Camaro quite a bit in this video, I'm actually a huge fan of the car. I bought a 2SS back in 2017. I threw some mods at it. It got a ton of looks. It never quit out on me. I put it through the ringer, track days, multi-day car rallies, blowing the tires off the back of it, never got old. The Camaro is incredibly underappreciated in my opinion, especially the 6th gen. And although I don't really think a Camaro SUV is something that we're going to see in the market anytime soon, with the help of artificial intelligence, I decided to go ahead and see if I could come up with my own version of it, one that I would actually buy. And this is what I ended up with, a 2025 Camaro SUV. Now, to create this design, I actually fed the AI system this photo right here of my old Camaro, and I asked it to build a racing-inspired modern Camaro SS SUV with 4 doors and a whole lot of other image commands that probably wouldn't make much sense to anyone who hasn't actually played with AI or is into photography. So I'll go ahead and leave those out. But surprisingly, I really like the design. And now it's not perfect, of course. I could do without the orange graphics, and that's not really my style. And I'm not really sure where the AI even pulled that inspiration from, but it's not terrible. I could just do without it. The ZL1 front bumper works really well on it. The wide stance, the aero kit. I think if GM had dropped this on the market instead of the Blazer back in 2019, this thing would have been a hit. It would have taken a ton of customers away from the SRT Jeeps and Durangos. I would have probably bought one. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think we'll see a Camaro SUV in the near future, or are you more on the same page as me, where we'll most likely get a Corvette SUV as it's developed into a sub-brand, and the Camaro will unfortunately go to the back burner, at least in the near term, or at least until they decide to relaunch it as an EV, because they did say that the Camaro wasn't dead forever. Oh, and don't forget to answer the all-important question of this series when it comes to my Camaro SUV design. Would you buy one? As always, I'd like to thank you all for watching. The continued support means a lot to me. If you made it this far into the video, if you could just do me a solid, just smash that like button, subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. I'm creeping up on that 100K mark, hoping to get it this year. Maybe share this video with a friend. Be sure to check out martysparts.com for all your GM OEM parts needs, and I will see you all in the very next video. Thanks again, and take care.